Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
I always like it when law enforcement gets pissed off at people's ways of getting around how they try to catch people, such as when individuals call into a radio station and say, hey, there's a speed trap at this road and that road, which I think is hilarious, so that people make sure they watch their speed around where they're being metered.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. Well, and this is not a relatively fresh story, but just to give you a heads up, Waze, I think it's Waze, not Waze.
That looks like Waze.
It looks like Waze, but I'm going to say Waze, is a GPS navigation software app. It works on smartphones and tablet computers that have GPS support. It provides turn-by-turn navigation information and user-submitted travel times and route details, while downloading location-dependent information over a mobile telephone network. That's what we're talking about here, okay? The NYPD is demanding that Google remove a feature in the Waze app that allows users to share the location of police checkpoints for DWIs.
DWIs? Huh.
Yeah, so the police department sent a cease and desist letter to Google telling them that drivers posted locations of these checkpoints, and by alerting people to DWI enforcement zones, they may be engaging in criminal conduct since their actions could be intentional attempts to prevent and or impair the administration of the DWI laws. Google released a statement saying, we believe that informing drivers about upcoming speed traps allows them to be more careful and make safe decisions when they are out on the road.
But that's different. You know, speed traps versus DWI zones is completely different things. I'm all for the DWI zones not being listed because I want to catch those drunk motherfuckers that ram into cars, kill somebody else, but they're fine.
Right. Well, you're all relaxed, so you're all like, whoa.
That's why, yeah. So next time a car hits me, I got to remember to just go loose.
Yeah, you got to just limp, just like a rag doll. But I guess last month, Google finally added this speed limit information to Google Maps. And in a traffic-heavy city like New York, drivers rely on this technology to find the quickest routes possible to where they're going. But as mobile applications like Google Maps and Waze become more popular, the NYPD says some of their features are not so helpful after all. So NYPD has a zero-tolerance policy for motorists who engage in reckless conduct that endangers public safety. Blah, 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 more bullshit. You can see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you stated you do not think it's a good idea.
I don't mind the speed trap thing. You know, it's just kind of like, oh, there's a speed trap up there. Just please slow down, all right? Don't be an idiot.
Right.
But the ones where they set up these DWI checkpoints to catch drivers who are driving under the influence of alcohol or, just anything, they're just impaired. I want those there. I want to catch these people because those are the ones you need off the fucking road.
Right.
Speeders are paying attention to what they're doing. Unlawful or not, it's... I don't think someone just speeding to get somewhere really causes a crash that kills somebody, unless they run a red light or something. But the whole driving while intoxicated, that is a problem. People die from that shit.
Now, I agree with you 100%, but I like to play devil's advocate in these situations.
Yes, you do. So let's hear it.
So how is what they are doing with this app by notifying people of speed traps and DWI enforcement any different than when the State Patrol goes on the news the week prior to when they're going to be doing more upscale DWI enforcement, seatbelt enforcement, distracted driving, texting enforcement? The only difference is that this app is giving specific information, whereas law enforcement agencies are just saying out loud on the news, hey, we're going to be looking for this shit this weekend.
That's the big difference, okay? We're going to be out there. Please just don't do it. We are going to be looking. Okay, this is specific. Oh, they're right here. So drunk assholes who want to kill somebody, go around them so that you can keep driving home drunk.
But what if it's people that are just a hair under the 0.8 and they're perfectly fine? There's a lot of people that can get shit-faced.
And you'll be able to prove them.
Well, you could just avoid that checkpoint and go drink somewhere else.
Well, or if you're talking about them
maybe
going
you
to
stay
drink
home.
More, I like to drink at home. honestly. I don't even really like drinking at a friend's house.
Because you're afraid you might pass out and they'll take advantage of you?
No, it's just I'm usually the one that has to drive home when Mrs. number one fan and I go somewhere. So I drive, I have a Class A license, so I'm actually restricted to .4.
Right.
.04. So it's like the enjoyment of going out and even having a couple of beers or 2 stiff drinks is gone because I have to follow a much stricter guideline. So it just kind of ruined the fun of me going into someone's house and drinking. And that's fine, because I find as I'm getting older, I'm drinking less and less anyways.
But my point is also, how many people did I see get caught up for Deweys when I worked at the jail? DUIs are pandemic in this state, and they keep trying to lower the threshold so that you can almost have no more than like a drink, and then you have to wait a while. So with that being said, I think the NYPD is ignoring the positive notation of having this app identify their DWI checkpoints. What if the people that are out partying it up in those areas go, I'm not going to risk it because there's too many cops and I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to call an Uber.
I honestly don't think that many people are doing it because, well, they're right there. Well, I'll just avoid that. I can drive drunk now because I know where they are. Whereas, I know there's extra enforcement this week. I don't know where they are. I don't really want to chance it, so I'm going to take an Uber. To me, the latter sounds like it's more probable than, they're right there, so I'm just not going to drink. I'm going to get a cab. No, you're telling where they are. They can go around. They're still going to drive drunk. They're still going to be a dick.
Yeah, probably. I just think of like all the times that I would sober cab for my friends when I used to live over by Blainebrook.
You never sober cabbed for me.
Not for you, but for a shit ton of other people.
I know, but I'm just saying, I was left out.
No, you should have been at Blainebrook. So when I would sober cab from Blainebrook, I would always notice how many fucking cops there were hanging around the strip mall adjacent, all these little hidey holes they had to try to pop out of nowhere. And one story in particular was an evening where the Beast and I were driving home, and she had had a bunch of booze, and I had no booze.
That's not different than normal.
Right. So I pull out of the lot, and I'm like, here we go. I guarantee we're going to get pulled over. And sure as shit, they pulled me over right as I pulled into the parking lot of my apartment, which was only 3 blocks away.
Probably figured that you'd be most likely to drink and drive since you only had to go 3 blocks.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing is when the officer walked up to the window, I'm like, evening, officer. I hope you weren't hoping to catch a drunk driver because I actually don't drink at all, so this is not going to be one of those DUI stops. He's like, oh, no, your headlight's out. Like, he got piffed.
That's not why I pulled you over.
Right.
Quit being presumptuous.
I'm like, what headlight? He's like, this one. I'm like, oh, can I see? He's like, well, you can check it out when I leave. And I'm like, what a fucking dildo.
It's not even, it works.
So I'm like, well, I'm willing to bet that it's just like it was the other day when it went out and I tapped on it 3 times real lightly and it came back on. I got to get the wiring worked on. He's like, so you were coming from the bar, but you did no drinking. I'm like, people do go to bars and eat food there because they're also restaurants, not to mention all the pinball they have there.
Sometimes the food's better.
And then he says this. He's like, oh, well, you weren't drinking, though? I'm like, no. He's like, but she was. I'm like, oh, yeah. Can you smell her? Yeah, that's her, dude. Here's my license and insurance. He walks back. He comes back a minute. He's like, okay, well, I'll get that headlight taken care of. He didn't give me a fix-it ticket.
So he started out like an asshole, but then he's like, okay, well, this guy's kind of got me here. I'll be nice.
I fucking love to do that shit,
great.
though.
That's a good story. I like that story.
I fucking love to do that shit because there was another time when I was picking up sober cabbing again. Rick James, my buddy, lived in townhomes behind another bar in Blaine. I had to go a block. So I was actually bringing friends to the store that had been at the bar. They walked back to the townhouse. So we get in my car. They've had drinks. It's my buddy Scotty. He's one of my Eskimo bros. And Rick James' brother Joey. And we're leaving the little alcove of his 8-unit townhome street. I pull out. Whoop, there's the cherries. Right? Because I passed the cop going the other way. I'm like, he's going to fucking pull us over. He whips around and pulls us over. And this guy could not have been a bigger dick. I have told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again, goddammit. because he pulls me over. I'm like, evening, officer, what seems to be the trouble? He's like, do you have your license and your insurance? I'm like, yeah, here you go. Like, so why'd you pull me over? Well, we're looking for a couple of guys that were causing trouble at the bar nearby, and they meet the description of your friends. What description? Well, like them.
Cocksucker!
I'm like, that's it, just like them? He's like, so where are you coming from? I'm like, my friend's townhouse. Like, where you saw me pull out? Yeah, Unit D. And he goes, are you becoming a smartass with me? And I'm like, not at all, sir, because
does sound like it, but
you asked me where I was coming from, and I specifically told you.
I came from the
so
D.
you knew exactly where I was. So you haven't been to that bar at all? Then I'm like, I haven't. They have, but not for like an hour and a half. So I don't know what these similar dressed individuals are that were causing no goodery at said establishment, but these are not your huckleberries. He's like,
Did you really talk like that?
Yes,
like,
I fucking
exact
did.
fucking words.
Yes.
Oh,
that's an
great.
almost near quote. And he's like, okay. He hands me my shit back. He basically just drops it in my hand. He doesn't like hand it to me. He's like, yeah. He's like, all right, have a nice
Take
night.
this shit back. Go fuck yourself.
He was so pissed. And I'm like, motherfucker, go park on the other side of the bar by the door if you want to see people that are in the area causing trouble.
You know, not last
He was
week.
fishing. He was fishing for random cars, and he saw 3 guys and thought, oh, I'm going to see what's going on here. Fucking get a hobby, dick wipe.
Not last week, but the week before. I got done plowing a 12-hour shift. And so it's like 2:15 in the morning. I'm driving home. And I pulled out of the parking lot where I worked, and there were 2 plow trucks in front of me. They just pulled onto the road. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be one of those dicks that try to pass them, even though I can time it right. I know exactly what their pattern's going to be. So I was just kind of following behind them, and they get up to an intersection. There was a car waiting in the left turn lane that was oncoming, and my light turned yellow. I was like, if I hit the brakes, I'm probably going to slide because the salt that the plow's just dumped hasn't activated yet. So I went through the yellow light, which turned red right before I got through the intersection. And sure enough, that was a sheriff deputy that was in that turn lane.
Bitch.
So I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to see how this goes. And sure enough, his light turns green. He whips around. He gets really close to me for a couple of blocks. And he kind of backs off a little bit, you know. And I'm driving a perfectly straight line. I'm tired as shit, you know, but I'm paying attention to what I'm doing because I'm behind 2 plow trucks. And I thought for sure, like, he was going to pull me over and be like, okay, well, you know, you ran a red light, were you drinking? You know, it's just after bar closing time.
How far into the intersection were you when it turned red?
At least a truck length. So he could see that it was.
So you were halfway through, roughly.
Yeah.
Or more.
It was like a truck length. So yeah, I was over halfway through.
Okay, I would have been like, fuck it, I don't care. Especially because of the road conditions. Yeah, because, I mean, if you lock up the brakes and you go skidding into the intersection and then you have to back up, well, what if the other cars don't allow you enough room to back up?
Yeah.
Just fucking let it go, man.
There weren't any other cars. That's why I said, it's like, I could hit the brakes, but the salt hasn't activated. I'm just going to slide into the fucking intersection. Well, I'm not trying to be anticlimactic here, but after he followed me for a good mile and a half, he turned off into a business parking lot abruptly, and then I just kept on going.
Did you laugh?
I kind of chuckled. It was just like, he probably got my license plate, saw there wasn't anything suspicious there. My tabs were up to date. It didn't look like I was driving drunk because I was holding a steady line.
He ran your plates. That's why he got so close, was to run your plates.
He wanted to see what my
to
plates were.
To wait to see what was going on.
Yeah. But I thought for sure I was going to get fucking pulled over. I mean,
God damn it.
In those instances, when they pull away, I'm like, that's right, asshole, keep driving. I say that out loud because it makes me feel cool. So, back to the actual topic. I can see why the New York PD would feel this way about the Waze app alerting people to their DUI checkpoints. But at the same time, come on, freedom of speech. You're just pissed because the technology is undermining your authority.
it could be that, or it could be they really want to get these people off the fucking road.
It'd be like standing outside of a fucking house that they're going to feature on To Catch a Predator. and you're outside with a sign that goes, Chris Hansen inside.
Yeah.
No teen poon. Keep driving.
You're going to get in a lot of trouble for
Like,
that.
we fucking had like 16 guys say they were going to come here for, quote, brownies and to hang out, and not a single one of them has shown up. What the fuck is going on?
Did you bring condoms? Yeah. Were you going to have sex? No. Then
Why'd
why'd
you bring
condoms?
We're going to make water balloons and throw them off the roof?
Yeah, I like to be prepared. You never know when a water balloon fight's going to break out.
You never know when somebody might say, hey, do you have an extra condom? And you're like, yeah, I do. Here you go. Be safe. As opposed to when they're like, hey, you got to smoke. You're like, I don't, but I do have a condom here. Wear it. Wear it while smoking.
Chewing gum.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And that's the end.